You know what I mean? Like the goal should be to, instead of tucking tail and running, is to try and push for a American revolution, and not a bourgeois revolution in the form of the initial American revolution, but like an actual proletarian revolution. Holy, that is so crazy. We're experts in fascism. We're leaving the U.S. The Yale professors that study fascism are leaving the United States. I mean, look, can I say something here? You got to fight it. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, I've thought about it. There's like a lot of people that are like, oh, dude, what are you going to do if conditions worsen? And it's like, I don't know, fucking die, I guess. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't, especially because the way I see it, like, America spreading fascism is more nefarious than even other countries having their own fascist movements. Not only because, one, there is clearly a network of fascists have a more internationalist perspective than socialists do, or leftists do in general, or even progressives do. That's number one. And number two, if America is like full tilt fascist, where are you going to go? China? Iran? Iran is authoritarian in meaningful ways as well. You know what I mean? Like, where do you go? Where can you go that America can't get to you? No, you can't go to Mexico. What are you, crazy? Mexico is the fucking underwear of America, or America is the hat of Mexico. But regardless, you think America can't get to you in Mexico? What are you, crazy? You can't go anywhere. Maybe Thailand, Russia. That's it. But a lot of the places that you could go to outside of the sphere of American influence, where America can't reach you, is already like not great in their own way, you know? There are obviously some benefits. My point is, America goes fascist, we're all fucking cooked. Then you might as well just be fascist at that point if you want to survive.
I'm a historian of totalitarianism.
I look at fascist rhetoric.
I've been thinking about the sources of the worst kinds of history for a quarter of a century.
Experts say the constitutional crisis is here now.
The Trump administration deporting hundreds of men without a trial.
A massive purge at the FBI to make people afraid of speaking out against him.
I'm leaving to the University of Toronto because I want to do my work without the fear that I will be punished for my words.
The lesson of 1933 is you get out sooner rather than later.
I've spent a lot of time in the last decade trying to prepare people if Trump were elected once, let alone twice.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
I did not flee Trump, but if people are going to leave the United States or leave American universities, there are reasons for that. One thing you can definitely learn from Russians
is that it's essential to set up centers of resistance in places of relative safety.
We want to make sure that if they're...
Bro, they're not wrong, okay? Obviously, they're fucking important academics. Like, these aren't random dickheads, chat, okay? These are the guys. Like, that's not an exaggeration. These are the fucking guys, okay? When they're ringing the alarm bells, understand that the alarm bell is being rung for a decent reason. The problem is, like, you have to fight right now. This is the last best moment to fight against growing fascism in this country. And I feel like tucking tail and running away is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do.
There is a political crisis in the U.S. that Americans are organized.
We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in.
My colleagues and friends, they were walking around and saying, we have checks and balances, so let's inhale, checks and balances, exhale, checks and balances. And I thought, my God, we're like people on the
Yeah, fleeing is not the lesson of 1933. I mean, but as academics, who are probably definitely still very much liberal, they learned the wrong lessons there. The German Revolution should have been successful. You know what I mean? Like, the goal should be to, instead of tucking tail and running, is to try and push for a American revolution, and not a bourgeois revolution in the form of the initial American revolution, but like an actual proletarian revolution.
Titanic, saying our ship can't sink. We've got the best ship, we've got the strongest ship, we've got the biggest ship, our ship can't sink. And what you know as a historian is that there is no such thing as a ship that can't sink.
The golden age of America has only just begun.
America has long had an exceptionalist narrative. Fascism can happen elsewhere, but not here.
But talking about American exceptionalism is basically a way to get people to fall into line. If you think that there's this thing out there called America, and it's exceptional, that means that you don't have to do anything. Whatever is happening, it must be freedom. And so then what your definition of freedom is just gets narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, and soon you're using the word freedom, but what you're talking about is authoritarianism.
Toni Morrison warned us.
The descent into a final solution is not a jump. It's one step. And then another. And then another.
We are seeing those steps accelerated right now.
There are some words, in Russian in particular, that I feel help us to understand what's happening in the United States, because we now have those phenomena. Произвол. It's the idea that the powers that be can do anything they want to you, and you have no recourse. This not knowing who is next creates a state of paralysis in society.
The Tufts student whose visa was removed because she co-authored an article in the Tufts student newspaper.
I thought, what?
Tim Miller, host of the Bulwark podcast, says, leaving America right now is pretty stupid unless A, you have family member without full legal status you were trying to protect, or B, just like the other country better and would have moved anyway. The husband and wife fascism experts from Yale had already left in August 2024 for a comfortable sabbatical in Toronto and were planning on staying even if Kamala had won the election, so the entire premise of their little New York Times spectacle was bullshit. I mean, I think the message that they're presenting is not incorrect, for the record. I think that they're right. It's a message that I agree with, which is that fascism in America is here. We are down to our ankles in the waters of fascism, and we're slowly sinking, soon to be up to our waist in the waters of fascism. Straight up. And it is upon us to try to build a decent enough coalition, a coalition of the willing, to try and fight back against it. Because I feel like before you know it, you're fucking balls deep and then neck deep.
Would I do if guys in masks tried to grab my student? Would I scream? Would I run away? Would I try to...
Lying as usual. If you want to change, you guys just need to win the next election. Yes, bourgeois democracy. That's certainly what didn't get us into this mess to begin with. Norm Finkelstein thinks it's silly that we are saying fascism exists in the U.S. Yes, the reason why he says that, and I totally understand his position, even though I disagree. Like, I use the term fascism or Nazism colloquially to help people understand by making a comparison to a historic wrong that everyone is positioned against, okay? I get why he's saying that, because from his perspective, it's understandable to say that, like, there is no There is no fascism in America because there is no other. There is no, I mean, there is another. There's the undocumented migrants. It's like immigration enforcement. But what he means is like that it's already fascist. Like it's already so capitalist that there is no need for some kind of like fascist movement to present itself as an alternative to like a real socialist left. The real socialist left is so ascetic and so powerless that, I mean, look, what am I? I'm a fucking Twitch streamer, and like, yeah, sure, I get like harassed a little bit from Customs and Border Patrol, but like under different circumstances, I think I'd probably be imprisoned, right? If I was a genuine, real game-changing, system-changing threat to the American administration. Having said that, UB is correct on this. Not connecting the rise in fascism to America's undying love of aiding Israel makes this nothing more than a grain of salt in my eyes. You can't mention the tough student being kidnapped for a newspaper article without talking about the content of that article. Yes, Israel already is a fully functioning fascist state. And by the way, Israel is a fully functioning fascist state in the way that you understand historic fascism. That's why I say it's a Nazi state. That's why I say Zionism is Nazism, and defenders of Israel are Nazis. And America wants that here. They want to have the same censorship regime here. They want to have the same like arresting dissidents attitude, like the legal structure that Israel has here. Israel, however, has a permanent other, and that permanent other is the dehumanized indigenous population of Palestinians. Are you saying that he's describing is the logical outcome of fascism, that we already reached the end state of the ideology as a nation in the USA? I think he's saying that it's American fascism does not reflect historic fascist movements. And to a certain degree, I understand that, because fascism still also requires a little bit of reading, or at least like some ideological conviction. And American fascists don't have that. They're just like pure reactionary in every sense of the word. They're not necessarily aligned with like the organizational principles of a fascist movement. They don't even have like we try to make believe that there's like similar structures of the brown shirts, for example, but like the most you get is like the 1%ers or a bunch of like Heil Hitler fatties that get together and do camp on the weekends as they experiment with their sexuality for the first time ever inside of tents. Like that's all they got, you know? We're too invested in burger, too comfortable. Just like living conditions have not worsened to a degree where there's like radical revolutionary socialist politics that is rising from the ashes. There's not really a lot of like, there isn't really a coherent, cohesive fascist movement in this country. You understand that you're talking complete bullshit, but you enjoy pushing the propaganda. You mean bullshit fear mongering. That is not what he means. What does he mean? Fascists are more internationalist than socialists. Why? What do you mean? They have moneyed interest. Capitalism is one. And consolidated power in the hands of capitalists can create a more robust network of international fascist movements. Why the fuck do you think there are, why the fuck do you think there's like way more cooperation between like right-wing fascism, the AFD, and like, I don't know, American leadership or Le Pen or the Reform Party with Nigel Farage here in the United States of America, or Viktor Orban, as opposed to as opposed to no real alternative to that here in America? I can't watch the stream for 5 minutes without being mad. Bullshit. All right, let's hear what the intellectual... What is the end goal of American fascism? More of just the same. American dominance around the globe. That's it. A preservation of American capital and American dominance. The fear that it might go away at the global stage is what is guiding American leadership to become more hands-on. This is not a Asman watcher. Come on, guys. Not every single dissenter in my chat is an Asman Gold fan. Are you kidding me? that you have to be able to make a difference between slop tuber enjoyers and a guy who has read too much and is fucking annoying in the chat. Click his profile. He's hosting him. Yes, I do watch Asman. Wait, really? Oh my God. Wait, you're an Asmongold fan who knows who Norm Finkelstein is? What the fuck is going on? I have cognitive dissonance from watching Asmongold and Nick Fuentes. Oh, you're a fucking Nazi. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait, what? Wait, are you a neo-Nazi that watches, that listens to Norm Finkelstein? What the fuck is going on? It's gotta be, this Destiny has to be the guy that fucking actually is the connective tissue here, right? Like, cause this person is, maybe I judged too fast. He went, what is BDS in 2021? Look at this fucking asshole going from learning about boycott, divestments, and sanctions for me in 2021 to fucking turning into an absolute fucking freak. You guys are not appreciative of the fucking information that you learn from me, okay? You have to be a little bit more respectful. If I can look back in your fucking, if I can look back in your chat logs and you know, find out that I taught you something as fundamental as boycott, divestment, and sanctions, not even just for Israel, but for apartheid South Africa as well. You can't be coming back in here and be like, I got brain broken by a guy who fucking has roaches living on top of him. Okay? That's crazy. You know, you didn't actually answer his question. No, he didn't ask, or sorry, rather, he didn't answer mine. I responded to his statement and then he moved on. I just don't think there's enough in common. I just don't think there's enough in common with Nazis. Yes, I do watch Hasman. Nah, you do teach me things. I listen to everybody. I just got annoying by like fascists being used over and over again. Oh my God. Nazi or not, he's wrong. Norm Finkelstein was on Chris Hedges just weeks ago talking about fascism in America and how it's worse than ever because liberals destroyed the American left. The quote from the other chatter is more than a year old. Wait, so your anger is that I think that like American fascism is more burger oriented than like ideologically minded in the way that historic fascist movements have existed? Because that's my position. Or is your only interest in this conversation to actually, annoy me and to, in your mind, secure a victory that way? Because I'm saying that a political movement that ran on deporting 20 million people, that actively is working to declare people non-citizens, that very clearly has a white nativist immigration agenda, as evidenced by the fact that they're falsely claiming that there's a white genocide happening in South Africa and are trying to introduce white migration patterns into the country while simultaneously trying to deport 20 million migrants with no real reason for why that deportation must happen, by the way, which is going to be not only politically but economically incredibly costly. No other reason other than some kind of like failed eugenicist approach. While simultaneously undermining at least some of the good parts of the American Constitution, like the First Amendment or even due process. You think all of those markers are not indicative of a fascist movement? All of those markers are not indicative of a fascist movement. Israel is fascist and America is turning into fucking Israel. You hate Israel, which is now making me a little suspicious because you said you got cognitive dissonance from watching Nick Fuentes. So I don't even understand. Nah, you do teach me things. What was the question again? The only way university is being censored is by talking about Israel. The only thing I really don't like about Trump is supporting Israel. Wait, so you're an Asmongold fan who watches Nick Fuentes. You're an Asmongold fan who watches Nick Fuentes and you like Donald Trump. You don't think deporting 20 million migrants is indicative of fascism. And you just don't like that Israel is a point of contention and defense of Israel is the big issue for you. I apologize to every single person. Yeah, I'm not going to deny the allegations. No, we understood what the allegations are. I like that he's also admitting that he's a fucking Nazi. The average Asmongold fan that seemingly is more well-read than the guys who come in here and they're like, "Ah, you're fucking terrorism, you hate. You're terrorism, you hate fucking white people. I hope you get deported." Like that's the type of guy that we normally get. And now we caught one. We got him. Guy who's hosting Asmongold openly admits to being a fucking Nazi and is only upset about me using the terminology, using the political marker of fascism for Trump because Trump is not fascist enough. Amazing. Now I wish I got the dumb fucks more often than this fucking dipshit. Oh God. Goes to show you when you can have a normal back and forth with someone, and someone can present themselves as intelligent, that doesn't necessarily mean that they actually have a good worldview or a coherent one or one that is good for themselves even. I remind you, I swear I'm an open-minded person. Dog, you just copped to being a fucking Nazi and a Nick Fuentes watcher, and now you're saying you're an open-minded person. Let me explain something to you, okay? This fantasy of creating a white America, white being a socio-political construct to begin with, okay? This fantasy of a white future for America is not going to save you. You are still going to be bitchless, okay? You are going to get no pussy. You know who's going to get the pussy under your fucking Nazi America? The Aryan Chads are going to get the pussy. You're probably going to get fucking sent to the salt mines, okay? So you better push back against that when you have the option, when you have some semblance of freedom, and stop being a fucking Nazi in the nicest ways that I can urge you to change the trajectory of your life. That's crazy. No, this person is, guys, he's not incoherent. His ideology is unfortunately coherent. It's stupid. It's racist. It's dangerous, but it is coherent. That is interesting, though, that an out and about open fucking Nazi in the chat is just like, yeah, I love Asmongold and Nick Fuentes. My bad. Yo, get my face off there. The classic no pussy argument. Yeah, because I feel like that's a major motivator for you, brother. That's why I'm saying this, because you're too young otherwise, okay? How the fuck did you arrive at your worldview? I suspect that somewhere along the way, a girl that you had a crush on probably, dated someone else, and that resentment carried over to you going on a fucking political journey that ended up with you believing in whatever the fuck Nick Fuentes is saying because he looks very similar to you in many ways, and you find him to be a charismatic figure. And Asmongold too. Jesus Christ. I think that's a simplistic analysis of what's going on here. No, it goes back to what I was saying already about the fucking the Burger Reich ideology. It's not that simple. It's not overly simplistic. Americans are overly simplistic, especially because their living standards as a firm member of the labor aristocracy in the heart of the imperial core is too sweet for them to like develop enough political resentment and enough ideological conviction to fucking become out and about neo-Nazis elsewhere. They literally arrive at these conclusions for incredibly silly reasons, which is why I work actively to try and shake them out of this stupor that they found themselves in. Like, why do you think the average fucking American gives a shit about trans people? You think it's because like they have a direct relationship with a trans person? Do you think a trans person was their immediate supervisor in their place of work? Do you think a trans person was a landlord and they developed resentment? No, it's because someone recognized that these were unstable and angry people and were fearful people, and they were able to capture that attention and capture that anger and resentment born out of their material circumstances and redirect that attention to fucking trans people. Okay? That's it. And for the most part, for a lot of young men, it unironically comes from having an interaction, something as simple as like having an interaction, especially after a shit ton of entitlement that they've developed for themselves, thinking that they're supposed to experience a future that their great grandparents thought they would experience. Upward social mobility, everything's given to you with a fucking handshake. Women are servile ultimately, and that they date you unconditionally because you show promise. When none of those things happen, your brain starts breaking a little bit, where you're like, at the first sign of conflict, at the first sign of failure, you turn around and you go, well, I guess the systems are at fault here. And to a certain degree, there is truth. The systems are at fault. It's just the systems that they perceive to be at fault are feminism or, I don't know, emancipatory, queer emancipatory rhetoric, shit like that. Like, look at, oh, fuck, you guys found it. Is naturally eradicated as people become more educated, less insular? I would disagree. It's about being more educated. Nature versus nurture is a real debate, but the more we learn about genetics, the more points go in favor of nature. Dog, considering that we just saw your fucking profile picture, I wouldn't be running around with this nature versus nurture, genetics determine your destiny attitude. Why is it that none of the Nazis are ever fucking Chads? It's literally always some pimple-faced dipshit, like a little weasel that fucking presents themselves as this like master race guy. I think it stems from insecurity. Yo, that's not my political account. That's my tame Twitter account. We get it. You're getting off on this interaction. It's born out of insecurity, chatters. That's where this comes from. It's the insecurity of what you thought was your destiny not matching what your current living circumstances look like. Okay? That's where it stems from. You think you have this, you're determined for some kind of positive future that you were supposed to have. This future was supposed to be given to you. And at the first sight of failure, you immediately go, okay, fuck this. Everything is broken. I'm not getting what I thought I was supposed to get. And it's not me that's wrong. It must be society that's wrong. And while societal analysis or systemic analysis is appropriate in this situation, many people, given that there is no leftist thought that is broadly popular, many people have two options: woke liberal bullshit that is, again, mostly just distractions and no real change for a better future for anyone in the next generation, or right-wing reactionary nonsense that is also a chock full of distractions, but at least distractions that they will follow through on. Any sort of aberration from the norm that is presented is seen as an aberration that must be excised, and these guys falsely think that if you fucking deport, again, 20 million undocumented migrants, which we don't even know if there's 20 million, but even then, they're not doing anything wrong. As a matter of fact, they're not a burden, but a boon on America, okay? We got to deport those guys, and then things will be better for me. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. It's the same fantasy that people have about the same fantasy that like libertarians have, right? Where they think like, oh, anarcho-capitalism. Once we have a society without rules, once the government stops getting in the way, I will have a fucking mega corporation. It's like, no, you won't. You'll be a slave, you fucking idiot. You'll be a slave. You're a slave right now. What makes you think once the fucking rules that at least kept your company from not executing you at the first sign of discontent is once those rules go away, what makes you think you're going to be the fucking manager of the factory? You can't even manage the Auntie Annie's pretzel shop at the fucking local mall. What are you talking about? If you're not cutting it right now, what makes you think you're going to cut it in this like anarcho-capitalist future? And the same goes for a neo-Nazi authoritarian future. What makes you think you're Hitler's top guy? You're not. You're fucking cooked. You're cooked. Plus now there's been so much death and destruction, and the American economy has collapsed in and of itself. Holy shit. Yeah, you're not him and you're not Himmler, bro. Okay? You're not. It's so weird. That's why I never understand it. Like, the shit that I advocate for out here, at least in the short term, is good for you because you're not a fucking billionaire. You're not a fucking multimillionaire and in charge of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Everything that I advocate for is good for your class right now as it stands. And if you don't have the understanding, if you don't even have the self-interest right now, what the fuck makes you think you're going to survive in any other form of governance? You're not. You're cut. You're cooked. You're already advocating for the gods under this structure. You're not going to be a god in the next one. You're just a peasant in this situation. You're going to be a peasant in even worse material circumstances in the next structure. Motherfuckers would be like, oh, Hasan, you claim to be a socialist, but you have money. It's like, okay, you're defending capitalism. You got no capital. Show me the deed to the fucking factory and then we'll talk. Show me the motherfucking deed to a factory, okay? What capital do you own? Nothing. The only thing you have to your name is a busted down 1994 hand-me-down Honda Civic that your brother fucked in. You can't even get pussy in that goddamn car. And you're over here talking about fucking capitalism. We must defend it. You don't got shit. It's so funny for someone working a regular 9 to 5 to be like, no, dude, one day I'm going to be rich and then those poors better fucking look out. It's like, it's not happening for you, bro. It's not. It's not going to happen for you. It's not happening for you right now. Why the fuck do you think advocating for something that helps the super wealthy even further at your expense, at the expense of your living circumstances, why the fuck do you think is one day going to flip in your favor? It's so dumb. It doesn't. Please stop. I'm a leftist, but I can't get laid and you're hurting my feelings. Shut up. Lamau, your takes have truly remained the same for like almost a decade. Not a bad thing, by the way. Yeah, it is the same. And it probably will remain the same because the societal ails are, the societal problems are the same. They're not changing. And the dumb motherfuckers who defend these unjustifiable systems still have the same stupid ass talking points. Okay. So yeah, my takes haven't changed either. I can't believe we arrived at a dude that was literally hosting Asmongold, who just openly was like, yeah, I love Nick Fuentes and Asmongold. I mean, I can believe it. It is definitely the profile of a type of person that I suspect exists in the Asmongold community. But it's so funny that he's in here trying to keep up and is unashamed about his utterly immoral worldview. You don't know why he hates Israel? I think I know why he hates Israel, big dog. Pretty sure he revealed that when he said he watches Nicholas Fuentes. Okay? That's it. When you're a Nicholas Fuentes fan and you hate Israel, you're basically jealous. You're jealous that, like, you know, the Jews get to do it, but you as a Christian white man don't get to do it here. The very same reasons why I hate Nick Fuentes and his politics is the same reason why I fucking hate Israel. Like, it's literally the same shit. Just because the people doing it are from a different ethnic or religious background does not change the dynamic of fascism. An ethno-supremacist, exterminationist ideology that is the guiding motivator for this nation state. All right, let's continue.
To pull the mask off? Would I try to videotape the scene? Would I try to pull the guys off of her? Maybe I would get scared and run away. The truth is, I don't know. Not knowing.
You're right there, but then again, you're crippling yourself. Your takes on illegal immigrants and terrorism will keep a lot of former Dems from coming back. Asman is more appealing than you. The more shit on his comm, the more people you push away. You're right there, but again, you're crippling yourself by saying you hate Israel, full stop. Yeah, I think I'm going to be all right. This guy's like, hey, man, do you want to actually have a larger audience? You need to stop talking about the humanity of illegal immigrants. You need to stop talking about the humanity of militant resistance against unjustifiable things such as genocide. And you need to also stop saying that the country that is an apartheid state doing a genocide is fucking full of shit and awful. Yeah, dude, let me moderate my position so I can just undermine my worldview. Actually, let me just fucking become a grifter. That's what you want. Is the diametrical opposite of what I seek to do here, dumbass. It's not me that has to change his mindset here. My goal is to make a convincing argument that you change your mind, but you want your cognitive dissonance slop served to you so hard that you'll go and get it from a fucking smelly dude who has cockroaches crawling out of his fucking ear. That's how low the bar is for someone to be like, well, I agree with this guy. He's telling me, as a former Dem, he's telling me what I want to hear, which is, we got to fucking dress up as Ash Ketchum and catch them all and do Pokemon style catches on mass deportation runs where 90% of the people that have been sent into the fucking slave labor prison in El Salvador have no criminal record whatsoever. Yeah, let me find middle ground with that shit, dude. No, thank you. God damn. You saying you hate Israel is like saying someone hates Palestine because of Hamas, and there are the personal attacks. Well, there you go then. We know how this will turn out. Oh, this is so fucking lame, dude. Just immediate victimhood. Yes, your ideology and your worldview is dumb. I'm sorry to fucking say, okay? I'm sorry I can't be nicer to you when you're literally telling me to change my mind as the chatter. Okay. Yes. The reason why, first of all, you saying you hate Israel, like saying when someone hates Palestine because of Hamas. Yeah. Welcome to the fucking real world, dumbass. Everybody fucking says that. Okay. They do. And even if you were to have that opinion, okay, even if you were to have that opinion, you have to understand something here. One side is the wronged party. The other side is the party doing the wrong. Israel is the party that is doing the wrong. Israel is the settler colonial enterprise. Israel is the much more powerful military force in the region. Israel is the one that has an apartheid state. Israel is the one that has nukes. So yeah, I don't give a fuck if you say, oh, I hate all of Palestine because of Hamas. Welcome to the fucking real world. That's like what half of the honest Zionists say anyway, but it doesn't even fucking matter. Okay? I don't give a shit. You can say that all day, every day, but it doesn't change the dynamic at all that Israel is an apartheid state doing a fucking genocide, and the Palestinians are the ones who are being genocided. Can you tell right from wrong? Or are you so stuck on the aesthetics argument that you just can't fucking comprehend anything? Typical expectations that I have from a former lib. This is why we say scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds, by the way. Okay? No, you don't largely agree with me on Israel. You say... You can't say I hate Israel. Why the fuck not? Can you say you hate Iran? Can you say you hate Saudi Arabia? Can you say you hate China? Can you say you hate DPRK? Then yeah, I can say I hate fucking Israel, okay? Suck my dick. I don't hate every single person living inside of the Israeli state boundaries, but I do hate every single person that defends Israel's genocide. Yes, I do. And I also... Just like I hate the Democrats that are fucking deluded and don't realize the dangers that a fascist America presents to the rest of the world, that think this shit right now is just a game. It's like, oh, Trump is the content president. Like, it's fine. I'm a liberal, but who cares? Whatever. Maybe 20 million migrants will get deported in the fucking process. Like, I hate those people, just like I hate the liberal Zionists that turn a blind eye to the atrocities. Okay? It's the same thing. Especially considering that Israel is simply an extension of the United States of America, most valuable state in the fucking nation. My hatred for all of the people that defend Israel's actions are virtually identical to the hatred that I have for my fellow Americans who don't actually recognize the severity of Trump's actions. That's it.
Terrified me.
It's a deliberate act of terror. It's not necessary. It's just being done to create a spirit of us and them.
It It's a word in Russian for corruption, but it's larger than corruption. It refers to a kind of existential state in which not only everything but everyone can be bought or sold.
Critics are calling this a quid pro quo deal between Adams and President Trump.
I'm committed to buying and owning Gaza. He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
There's an expression in Polish. I found myself at the very bottom, and then I heard knocking from below. In Russian, that gets abbreviated to there is no bottom.
We cannot allow a handful of communists.
It's so funny that like our analysis of authoritarianism is, it entirely revolves around Russia. Like our top like fascism understanders constantly point to a regime that, at least in its inception, eviscerated historic fascism, the USSR. But their understanding of fascism does not come from like the anti-fascist movements within the USSR, but instead basically the state bureaucracy that unfolded and how that was actually similar to fascism.
Radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws.
What starts to matter is not what is concealed, but what has been normalized. There's no limit to the depravity.
President Trump did not rule out the possibility of a third term.
And the sadism.
The White House released this video titled ASMR, Illegal Alien Deportation Flight.
And the cruelty that we are watching now play out in real time.
This facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
You have to continually ask yourself the question, is this okay?
Notice how every single person that they're pointing to pretty much is American legal permanent residents, at least, that they're pointing to are all because they criticize Israel in some capacity. Much to think about. It almost feels like Israel is our laboratory of evil that we are desperately trying to import here to the United States of America. It almost feels like it's not only just a lab of death, finding new and unique ways to fucking eviscerate a captive civilian population, but it's also, its politics are so advanced in comparison to like where we want America to look like. If you can't realize that, you're failing. You're failing the test. You know? Simping much. You think being asked and let go of the airport, but people who were in prison for nothing in the USSR were fine? Wait, what? What? Did I say that? At any point, did I say that? No, I didn't. You just made that up on your own. Do you feel like it's a solid argument to present? Just one that I didn't make because you can't address the argument that I am making, which is that there's a tremendous amount of literature from the USSR or from the Russian Revolution that you could point to, or even other revolutionary figures that have written extensively about the growth of fascism and how fascist movements grow. But Western liberal academics only focus on authoritarianism from the framework of like Stalin or the USSR. I feel like this is a problem in and of itself. This doesn't mean that the USSR did not have horrible governance practices or was run by a paranoid man. Okay? It's just that there's plenty of other Russian literature that you can focus on, considering that even that very same leader of the USSR, Stalin, was the great annihilator of fucking Nazis.
Is there a line I wouldn't cross? Is there something I would not do?
People say, oh, the Democrats should be doing more. They should be fixing things. But if you want the Democrats to do things, you have to create the platform for them. You have to create the spectacle, the pageantry, the positive energy, the physical place where they can come to you.
Poland recently went through a shift towards authoritarianism. Unlike in Russia, unlike in Hungary, the media remained a place in Poland where you could criticize the regime. And as a result, democracy returned. The moral of Poland is that our democratic institutions, the media, the university, and the courts, are essential. You know you're living in a fascist society when you're constantly going over in your head the reasons why you're safe. What we want is a country where none of us have to feel that way.
God damn. God damn, dude. Holy shit.